Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. We'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. We'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause the times is the man, the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
Times is the man, the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
Times is the man, the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to the man,
First
the
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time to the man.
Good morning, Earthlings. Welcome to First Contact Radio. How you doing today? All is well here. We've made it to the 23rd. The festivities or activities have begun, so we'll see where it takes us from here. But let's check into, as we always do, the cosmic weather for today, the 23rd, Yom Kippur. So the 23rd, what we see here is, right up off the bat, 3:20 a.m., we had a transition from one sun sign to the next sun sign. We were in Virgo. Now we've moved to the next sign over, which is Libra. So here's where we were. We've been at Virgo for the last month. Now the sun has changed. Virgo was the hermit holding the lantern high. Now things have changed, and now we've moved into Libra. Libra is represented in the tarot card by justice, karmic balance. Okay, so here we are at a time of karmic balance. What will our karmic balance require of us these days? We'll find out as this next month progresses. And we could see right here that we are in a void of course. This void of course began at 6:13 p.m. last night, continues until 12:51 p.m. today, where we go into the next moon sign, which will be Aquarius. Aquarius is an air sign. I know it looks like two squiggly lines of water. This is Aquarius. It is the woman, the water bearer, pouring the water. 1 foot on land, 1 on water, indicating that we need to have a balance between our emotions and our mind, our mental world and our emotional world. The nakedness is representative whenever you see that. It has to do with the purity, the ability to, and the availability of showing oneself, not being afraid to really express who and what one is about. So this is the star Aquarius. Aquarius brings with it, because it's an air sign, ideas that are in things of the mental realm, the mind. Air moves, so this is a time of movement that we are moving into as we get into the next couple hours, shortly after, just before 1 o'clock Pacific time. So we have Libra, which is an air sign, and we have Aquarius, which is an air sign. So there's going to be a lot of air this next day, a lot of air going on. And once we hit that, we could see that we're going to be the rest of today, tomorrow, and we don't make a transition out of Aquarius until the 25th. Okay, and that will take place in the afternoon of the 25th. So we have a Libra sun and an Aquarian moon, balancing our karma and taking time, as Aquarius likes to show us, that we need to go inside to meditate. We need to calm the winds within ourselves, come to understanding. The Hebrew letter on this card, Zadi, means fishhook. It has to do with the idea of meditation, that within ourselves are all the answers. So all we have to do is go into ourselves, and the way we do that is we bait the hook. We imagine we're going to throw a fishing line into our subconscious, which is represented by the pool, and we bait that hook with a question. We throw that question down into our minds or into the meditation, and we allow it to bring up what's necessary to catch the fish catch the idea that we need. So that's what's going on there. Aspects we're going to be dealing with over the course of today, once we get into the afternoon, is the sun and the moon are going to be in a nice good trine, Aquarius and Libra. When we get to, well, about the same time that's happening, the moon is going to be having a sextile with Saturn, which is reminding us that we need to focus our ideas and intentions. You know, when we think of Aquarius, we think of the ideals that we have, the age of Aquarius. We used to hear about that all the time, and moving into this great time of opportunity. So we want to be focused on what opportunities are before us. And then we have this karmic, or this expansion of Libra, of our karmic balance, or excuse me, the discipline and focus of it, with Saturn at 1:35 p.m. Okay, so that's what's going on there. As far as the Jewish calendar, today 10 Tishri Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is the holiest day of the year, day which we are the closest to God and His quintessential core of our own souls. It is the day of atonement. For this day He will forgive, to purify you, that you will be cleansed from all of your sins before God. Okay, and then the daily thought for today. Write your own script, just like it has been. Came to the stage with the script in your hand. The script tells you the hero of the story, bringing light into places of darkness, repairing that which is broken, healing that which has fallen ill, creating beauty from scattered fragments of everyday life. Your soul is tied to that script. Without it, you have no reason to be here, for you were conceived in the context, born to fit that role. And should you fail to perform according to that script, then what? You must write your own script, one that can heal even that which you yourself have broken. And your Creator, who conceived you and can see this entire plan, what will He think of this new script you have written? He will laugh in delight, exclaiming, "Look at my child, written her own script." Okay, Mayan Oracle. Four-tone day. Four-tone is the self-existing tone of form. Skywalker is a symbol today, so it would be a 4, or a self-existing Skywalker guided by the moon. Like-minded energy is the world bridger, teaching us the lessons of life and death. And the bridge between, we have the night here is the subconscious. It's our challenge for today. And the hidden power is our ability to shine brightly who and what we're about. Of course, purification is the guide for today. The phrase is, I define in order to explore measuring wakefulness. I seal the output of space with a self-existing tone of form. I'm guided by the power of universal water. And then today is a galactic activation portal day. Let me show you why that is. It's right here. Okay, you can see the synchronicity. We have this little pattern that goes on here. Okay, when these patterns connect, these are the days where it's like a portal's open to even more energy coming through to us. Current moon phase is a waxing moon, 74% of the way there, making its way up to the full moon. Spaceweather.com, our solar wind is currently at 490.7 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index is quite at a 3. One large coronal hole seems to be popping up in the middle of the sun here. As we move down, we look at the M-class flare possibility, 25%. X-class at 5. Geomagnetic storm activity, 10%. Mid-latitudes, we're getting down into, 20%, so seems to be pretty stable down in these areas as well. And finally, let's look at what's going on with the sky tonight. Binocular observers often scan the rich Milky Way of Sirius. Cygnus now overhead, but do you need to know about Omicron Cygni? It's a colorful double in the Swan's northwest wing and the binocular challenge. It's actually a triple. See galaxies, Cernox binocular highlights in the September sky. Autumn begins in the northern hemisphere and spring in the southern hemisphere at the equinox, 4:21 a.m. Wednesday morning, or 8:21 Eastern time. This is when the sun crosses the equator heading south, Wherever you are, the sun rises and sets almost exactly due west today. So there you have it. There's our cosmic weather today. Welcome to equinox season of fall. That is our cosmic weather for today. UFO news is up next. Let's get to it.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
Alrighty, Dirk. Thank you very much. Today's UFO news, we have some good stories here. Let's check them out. First story here comes to us. Well, this is a video for you to watch. It deals with 5 underwater mysteries we still can't explain. It says, I have to admit that some of these underwater mysteries have been on my mind for some time, especially the Baltic Sea UFO found underwater. Although a sample was taken and it was confirmed to be a stone material, it is probably a warship like the ones used to destroy Mars long ago. That is why it's solid, but not stone. Microtechnology, built to be strong like stone. That is why the boat's electronics all died when the ship was above it. Okay, we got to click on the link here. Got a 7-minute video. It says, during the past century, with the advent of sonar and better diving equipment, numerous underwater anomalies have been discovered, but they are still not solved. And as you go through here, what you'll find is a number of different anomalies that have been going on, things that we've looked at. I'm just going to leave the video for you to check out. Now, here we jump up to Mars, and we seem to have some sort of pattern here, indicative of something like Stonehenge. As a matter of fact, if we draw the lines between them, or look at the lines drawn between them, we see that there is a square within it. This is something remarkable found by Mr. Enigma YouTube. 2 circles of rocks and 1 square at its center. Not the first time I've seen this. I've seen it many times in dozens of photos of Mars. Always a circle, sometimes with big rocks, sometimes smaller, but always on small hills only. Okay, so we got the video link here for you to check out. It's a 10-minute video, just going over what this is and what have you, but basically it's exactly what you just saw right there. Okay. So I'm going to leave this link as always for you to check out. It's going to zoom in, show you where it is up on Mars. You can see it right there. Looks like it's even up on sort of hilly region. Alright, the next story here. Yuri Milner on the hunt for intelligent extraterrestrial life. Unlike some billionaire Russian VC, Yuri Milner is not scared that the killer robots are coming to destroy humanity in the years ahead. His views about the rise of artificial intelligence is better described as a beautiful friendship between humans and machines. Again, we have a video that I'm going to leave here for you to play and watch on your own because, well, we only have so much time here. It's a 5-6 minute video. And one more story for you today. And this kind of ties into something that I read yesterday from Edward Snowden. This time we have a thing from SETI. It says aliens could be trying to contact Earth, but humans may not be able to pick up the signals, say SETI. So they seem to be mirroring the words of Edward Snowden in what they're saying here. At this very moment, an advanced civilization may be trying to contact Earth, but despite our best efforts, we could be oblivious to their messages because humanity did not yet have the means to pick up the signals. This is according to Dr. Natalie Cabral, who is leading the hunt for alien life at the SETI Institute in California, speaking to DailyMall.com. Dr. Cabral said we are getting closer to finding both microbial life in the solar system and intelligent life elsewhere. She believes in our lifetime we'll find simple alien organism close to the Earth and a replica of our planet in another galaxy. Finding an intelligent life, however, may not be easy, largely because of our own limited view of the universe. See how much progress we have made in the past 100 years, says Dr. Cabral. If there is an exo-civilization out there that is only 1,000 years older than we are, who knows what type of technology or what type of process they put into communicating with others. Well, that's a good point. But again, I'm going to stand by what I usually say with SETI. I'm going to do a little I don't know, what is it, charades? I'm going to do little signals here. I may look a little silly, but watch. This is a flying saucer. And we look up. Sun. Sun shines. UFOs fly out of the sun. People on Earth look up and we see them. So SETI, follow the trail. Watch the UFO things and you will see that there are people here on Earth seeing UFOs up there. Now I know that you're saying you're not seeing them and finding them, but there's a lot of folks having UFO sightings. So I'm going to suggest to you yet again that rather than looking way, way out there, you come a little closer. Look a little bit closer because there's a plenty of extraterrestrial life around us flying. It's in the sun that shines bright, you know. It is flying in the skies above us. We see them. So it's not really too difficult. Just look for the people that are going like this, pointing at the sky. And when you see them pointing to the sky at an object, look up. That might help you a little bit. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being silly here and what have you. But I think you just got to look up because there's reports every day, SETI. Every single day there's reports. So you don't have to be confused and wonder where they are, why you're not finding them way out there. Because it could be that there's a party going on down here and they're all coming over to here. In which case, they're not home. They're here. Look closer, SETI. Pretty certain you'll find something if you do. All right, I'm going to move on, stop being silly, and jump into a song here. We shall continue momentarily. This is Great Spirit.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Continue on here. So, as you could see behind me here, or right here, a live feed. The Pope is on parade in his Pope mobile. See all of the security guards around there, making sure the Pope's going to stay safe. He's traveling through Washington, D.C., so you might want to check that out, see what he has to say. He gave his address at the White House this morning, just an introduction. He kind of clued in on what he is going to talk about, things that we have heard. Climate change was one of the things he mentioned. The persecution of Christianity, something else he mentioned. He also talked about marriage and family, and that is something he's going to be discussing as well. So, be interesting over in the course of this next couple of days what happens with the Pope, and hopefully, hopefully all will be well. We do know that there's a lot of information that's out there pointing to the 23rd and this period of time during the course of his visit. As we know about such information, sometimes these things are accurate, sometimes they're not. This could be an entire psyop that was put together with a lot of information just to make people who are researching this kind of stuff look stupid, or there could be something real going on to this. It's hard to tell in this day and age. That's what we really have to look close at. And it makes it difficult or challenging with the way technology is, because we know that somebody can put fake stories out very easy. We know that pictures can be staged and videos can be staged, photoshopped, and all this other stuff. So we really, have to look closely at all these different things that are going on so that we can understand them. One thing is certain, that we are going through a change, and there's no doubt about that whatsoever. This change has been going on for thousands of years. It seems to be ramping up as we move through time. 2012, December 21st, was certainly a time of change. Yet if you talk to most people, they'll tell you nothing happened on that date, because what they were looking for was things to happen on the earth. But remember, fire, water, air, earth. Things don't always have to happen on the earth in order for there to be a change. Things can happen, and often do happen, on the other areas of the fire, the water, and the air. Those other worlds, the ideas, the emotions, the words, and the actions. So we know that we moved energetically to some places in the universe that we hadn't been in a while. We know that we've made some courses of or circles of time that we've come back to, and we know that there's been a lot of change since December 21st. We also know that the Mayan calendar didn't end, because it was not supposed to end. I showed you that it's a calendar that just continues counting on and on and on. December 21st was simply a date that was picked out, a date when there would be change, because we were going to be crossing past a certain milestone, and that's what that represented. So here we are, we've passed that milestone, we're now at another time, and we have a lot of information telling us that we are in a time of prophecy, a time of the revealing, or the apocalypse. Apocalypse means revealing, so a lot of things are being revealed to us these days. Last night, I was watching what's going on in the world, and you got to admit there is a lot of strange anomalies taking place, from reports of UN setting up disaster relief centers in the East Coast, to people seeing Red Cross vehicles on the East Coast, to power outages in places like Washington, D.C. There was power outages and reports of landlines and phone lines down in Colorado. This morning, there was reports that all of the major cable providers were having some issues. You could go to their sites, and they were all showing you that there were issues that they were dealing with today. There's last night in Belgium, I believe it was Belgium, there was a fireball shot through the sky. Yesterday, the CERN project was having an issue, and you could see that they were saying they had a cryogenic leak of some sort, so they had to stop. Just one thing after another seems to be going on, and it's enough to want to cause someone to pay attention to what's going on, because these aren't just random events. There's a lot happening. And when we look at the 923, the numerology of everything that's going on, we do know that the powers that be, those behind the scenes, are working with numerology, because there are a lot of events that take place along numerological lines. Strangely enough, today would be the Pope's 923rd day in office. Strangely enough, today is 923. The Pope arrived in America on the 266th day of the year, and he's the 266th Pope, and the gestation cycle of birth is roughly 266 days. There's a lot of coincidences and numerology that is in there. Simply by looking at the numbers, one can see that there's some kind of pattern going on. As we are able to look and read what all this means, we understand a little better, because numbers can certainly guide us along the path and along our journey to see what's taking place. So we'll just keep paying attention, because for some reason all of these numbers keep lining up, and they line up to let us know to pay attention. We might not exactly know what's going to happen, but we know that we should pay attention, because there's enough coincidences, if you believe in the word coincidences as just being a random event. There's enough of these random events that are taking place. However, as I understand coincidence, a coincidence is when you have two angles meeting perfectly. They coincide. Therefore, if you have two things coinciding, it's not an accident that things come together to meet perfectly. Oftentimes, these are planned, but we've used to hearing the word coincidence think it's something random, which isn't necessarily the case. Here's a couple of interesting stories in line with everything that's going on I thought I'd bring up here. This first one says Arctic Doomsday Vault is to open because of the Syrian civil war. Now, the Doomsday Vault, as you know, it is where they keep massive amount of seeds in case we have any problems here. It says the Svalbard Global Seed Bank is the world's greatest repository of seeds. It has about 860,000 samples, most of the countries around the world, stored in a facility cloaked in permafrost 800 miles beyond the rim of the Arctic Circle on a Norwegian archipelago. Even if electricity failed, its location means the specimens kept within the vault could survive at least 2 centuries. The more than 4,000 plant species kept here provide a global backstop for the world's biodiversity in the face of climate change and other dramatic transformations on the planet. So it is conspicuous that for the first time, the Norwegian-run facility will open to remove some of its contents. The International Center for Agricultural Research in the Dry Areas, which was formed to relocate from the Syrian city of Apello to Beirut in 2012, requested about 130 boxes out of the 325 it deposited in the Svalbard vault, according to Reuters. ICARTA's temporary unit in the Lebanese capital was only partially functioning, and it needed these samples as part of its role as a hub to grow seeds and distribute them to other nations, the news agency explained. The organization's research in part focuses on cultivating crops that can cope with shifting climate patterns, in particularly dry areas of Africa, the Middle East, and Australia. So, what does this mean? I don't know. But remember, all information is a dot, and what we're looking to do is connect the dots. So I'm simply wanting to present to you as many dots as possible so we can determine if these things connect in any way, shape, or form. Maybe I won't see what's going on. Maybe you might see something different, in which case, y'all usually let me know, which is great. And that's the beauty of the internet, in my opinion, that we have this web of communication where we can do a tremendous amount of research because somebody finds some information and goes online, shares it in one way or another, whether it's through writing or a live show like this or something, with just audio, whatever it is. We share this information in forums, in all kind of sites, and then others come together and research this, and you get a lot of minds working on similar issues. Now, of course, we always have to take a grain of salt of understanding that there's a lot of people out there that aren't really critical thinking, that are going to throw, disinformation into the mix intentionally, and that's unfortunate, but that's the times we're in, and so therefore we need to look with critical eye at what we're looking at and just see that there's a lot out there. We can't just dismiss everything, because what are we going to do? Wake up one day and realize that all the things that we should have paid attention to that we dismissed are suddenly causing a problem in our life? One thing that I know for certain that is in the book of Revelation is the message to pay attention, to not become complacent. And that is plenty of message in itself. Take away all the other prophetic ideas of it. Just the fact that we're reminded over and over to pay attention should be enough for anybody who has read those books to pay attention. I mean, how many times do we need to be told, pay attention, stay on guard, be vigilant, before we actually follow along with all of those ideas? Now, here's another story. This was today. Parliament building evacuated in Brussels after a bomb threat. So it says the Belgium Federal Parliament building in Brussels is being evacuated due to a bomb alert, the Belgian media are reporting. A large number of police officers have arrived at the scene. The Belgian broadcaster RTBF is stating, while also adding that there are still people inside the building. Again, we can go through this here. Again, maybe this is just nothing in particular, but in line with all of the other events that are taking place and all of the numerology of 923. It's just another event that is taking place, another dot that we need to put on our map to consider whether this is one of the dots that connect into a bigger picture. Now, we're going to go from here. Let's look at this next story. This one, we're going to start to get into a little bit more of the prophecy and the ideas. This is a really lengthy article. It's going to require some time for you to go through it. I'm going to introduce you to the points of this article, but then if you could take some time during your day, because I'm going to show you this is a very lengthy article. You know, I mean, you can see as I scroll down how much information is here. I'm not going to be able to get through this through the course of this show because there's a lot. Okay, so let me just get up to the top here and just give you an introduction to what this is, and that way you can move on from there. It says the purpose of this long article is called The Frequency Shift into September 2015 by Dr. Simon Atkins, Predictions, Prophecies, Predictions and Visions, time-specific material. The purpose of this long article is to bring together a number of independent sources of material that together point to the next 3 months being a highly significant time period, culminating in a frequency shift towards the end of September. The initial focus that begins with this article is a recent interview with Dr. Simon Atkins, a climate risk economist and planetary threat forecaster whose work Laurent has previously covered here on the site. Building on the subject areas Simon covers in the interview, I'll move on to the additional material that I've come across elsewhere, some of which I've already written about in the Transients Facebook group that further points to the second half of September potentially being of huge and unprecedented significance. These include the Chani Project, Cliff's Highs, a webbot, time-specific events relating to September, prophecies relating to the Pope, and lastly, the prophecies, messages, and paintings of Transient very own contributor Valiant. So without further ado, let's begin. To provide some context, and particularly for those who you haven't come across Dr. Simon Atkins before, Simon, who's pictured right here, is the CEO of the Advanced Forecasting Corporation, which goes by the initials AFC, and author of Skya Books, the first volume of which is available when you click on this link here. He also runs his own program, The Skyla Show, which homepage has information all about him. He maintains and regularly updates Twitter account, which can be found at that link right here. Exactly 7 weeks ago, on the 7th of May, he guested on the Phoenix Rising Radio, a show that he's appeared on previously. Over the course of this particular broadcaster, Simon made a series of Earth-Star link predictions. The entire broadcast can be listened to. You got a link here. It's on SoundCloud, with Simon coming in just about the 12-minute mark. I encourage everyone reading these words to listen to what is a quite riveting 2-hour show. For the benefit of this article, however, I'll summarize Simon's key predictions as follows. 1, we have an acceleration and heightening of electromagnetic energy from the sun and other cosmic energies that will build, especially from late August into late September, that will cause around the 23rd or 24th September what he describes as a frequency shift in consciousness. The current ongoing Earth-facing solar CMEs and the resultant geomagnetic storms here on Earth are certainly a real-time manifestation of this. It says a resultant change in the pressure field on the planet is already weakening magnetic shield. Hereby, a higher incidence of seismic activity and extreme weather patterns is likely, whereby he specifically forecasts a 9.0 magnitude earthquake occurring very close to Iran before the end of September that will cause what he calls a planetary threat spin. He also predicts a massive volcanic eruption on Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula late this year that will cause dramatic cooling of the northern hemisphere during the coming winter. He predicts a 6.9 magnitude earthquake occurring in northern California before the end of September as a consequence of the continuing drought in southern California, which is recalibrating the tectonic plates as the water tables continue to deplete. And he also predicts a major rise in flooding in the U.S. this summer. Okay, now, and then we get to returning to the accelerating energies of the frequency shift in consciousness. He foresees that this having resultant effects on the mental functioning of some people. of financial markets and organizations, and the extent. There's going to be news events in July and especially August where people cannot control their own thoughts that will lead to societal events where people just lose it. We're certainly seeing examples of that. Some leaders of governments and corporations become hallucinogenic, whereby they're going to be imagining things that could lead to a leader being taken away by the public because of his behavior. We're certainly seeing people are starting to look at these leaders and question some of their behavior. And stepping with the accelerated energies, he foresees the Earth's frequency, known as the Schumann resonance, rising even further to possibly as high as 13 or 14. Currently, it rests at 7.8, but is estimated to have risen to 11. He sees it going to 14 by the end of September. So what we've got is a rise in frequency. Before I go on further, let me remind you here. Okay. Here we have the 7 Hermetic principles. One of these principles, the principle of vibration. Vibration, things are moving, vibrating. As things vibrate, the frequency is shifting. So the idea of a frequency shift moving up certainly fits in line with the idea of vibration and everything that we've talked about with the Kybalion and the principles of Hermetics. Okay, and if we were to look at numerology to see what these numbers are, 7 would be the number of the warrior, 11 of karmic balance, and we get to 13, death, 14, the higher self. So we do have some significant numbers within there, and if we were just to look at the numerological significance of that, could be another dot that we put on the map just to see if it fits into everything else. Now these accelerations leading to a 2 to 4 day period in the third or fourth week of this September, whereby shops may be closed and government becoming increasingly dysfunctional. And all of this is related, strikingly predicts an intergalactic electromagnetic wave, which he says some equate to Planet X Nibiru, which will arrive from another galaxy and sweep through the planet. He states that this is instrumental to the raising of consciousness, and it will consequently stun the world for a few days, leading to between 17 to 10% of the population experiencing the aforementioned delusions and hallucinations. We have the northern hemisphere will be experiencing accelerating energies more due to the large land masses and the magnetics therein. He says that the southern hemisphere is already experiencing this. He says the potential for further viral outbreaks as the frequencies pass through, and the powers that be, who are aware of all this, seeking to capitalize, manipulate, suppress, and control this frequency shift through structuring and or adding elements behind the natural events, be it more chemtrailing, weather warfare, more mind control through the use of technological weapons, all as a means of restricting consciousness awakening. And further, in response to a caller, Jade Helm is discussed in more detail. Simon states the exercise is very much connected to the frequency shift, whereby the lower states where the exercises are being carried out will be experiencing a higher frequency field in July and August, the purpose being of learning from and managing the resultant effects of the population there before it heightens further in the upper states of September. All right. I'm going to leave this for you because there's a lot more. It gets into discussing CERN, the Chanty Project, a variety of things. Bottom line, we've got a shift going on. The shift isn't necessarily happening on the physical. However, the shift will affect the physical. And those behind the scenes who study this, and we can't dismiss the idea and the awareness that those behind the scenes do study these sort of events to see what's going on, that they use these events and they use these energies to try to make changes in our lives by manipulating them, exactly as it said. So with things being manipulated, it makes it challenging to understand what's going on and whether or not what is being experienced is real or not. Okay? And he gets into talking about the Shemitah, the blood moon tetrad that's coming up, with a debt crisis possible, I mean, remember, all of these things are an effect of the energy shifts that are going on. And what is one of the things that he talks about? He talks about the idea of hallucinations. What are hallucinations? Situations of the mind. How could there be situations of the mind that could affect us? Because we are living in a mental universe, one giant mind. So if the mind is off, if we are having hallucinations or our mental abilities are not working effectively, then our correspondence with other aspects of ourselves aren't going to be clear. Our vibrations aren't going to be vibrating in synchronicity with nature because we're going to be off. Therefore, the polarities that we're going to be looking at aren't going to make sense. The rhythms we're moving towards and with aren't going to be in synchronicity. Our causes and effects are going to be all off, and certainly the principal agenda will be off. So a lot of things are affected. If we go back to these 7 principles, we can see that it really sums up for us what is important for us to understand. It all goes back to the mind. So if something affects the mind, it can affect everything because we're in a mental universe. So it's very important when we look at things. We don't want to just look at the physical. That is the mistake. There we're missing the point if we only focus on the physical, because we have the fire, the water, and the air that makes up the physical. It's like looking at a cake and seeing the cake and not knowing that the cake was made up of all of the ingredients that went into that cake. We have to be able to understand and organize these other energies and put them in their proper perspective. Now, I've got some other pieces here which I'm going to certainly leave for you to watch. This is a piece that gets into the idea of prophecy. It's the Prophecies of Benjamín Parravicini from 1938. And as you watch this, it's just music, put these words and everything here. And pretty much what you're going to find as you go through here is you're going to find that the events that are taking place in the world are all described in these prophecies. It's no coincidence that the times that we're in are significant, because when we look at all of these prophecies that have come to us from a variety of times, they are all describing things that are taking place in our world these days. So we don't want to turn a blind eye. We simply want to take this information. What do we do with it? We take it as a dot and we put it up on the map. And we look and see, is this a dot that connects with other dots? Maybe it isn't. Therefore, we need to know that. Like any investigator, we need to be able to discern the pieces of the puzzle that go into solving the problem, making the puzzle, and we have to discern the ones that don't. So that's what we're doing, connecting dots. Connecting the dots. Okay? And by connecting the dots, we actually become smarter because we see what's going on behind the scenes. And for those of you who have spent time connecting the dots in other areas of your life over the course of the years, you certainly understand the importance and significance of this, because it has helped you in the past and it will help you in the future. Because information is very important. Information is how we move along, because we live in a mental universe. Information feeds our minds, and that then leads us to the things that we're going to do. If our mind is off, then everything else is going to be off. So all one would have to do in order to affect the physical is to go into the area and affect another area. And what are these different energies and technologies that are being created by the governments intended to do? To affect other areas. They're not going after the physical. The physical is when they go to the wars. Okay, we know about the wars. The physical is when you turn on the TV and you got the lies going on there. But the activities that are taking place are images that are affecting the mind, words that are affecting the mind, stories that are affecting the mind. You have Heart Project, which is frequencies that are affecting the energies around us. We have the Blue Beam Project, which wants to show us projection in the sky to send us a different amount of information. So no matter how you look at it, it is an information war. And it's an attempt to manipulate the information around you. Because if you have wrong information, then the things that you're going to do in the world are going to be affected by that wrong information. That is why we have to be strong mentally throughout these times. We've been given the clues by the various teachers who have come before us, the books of prophecy that are before us. We shouldn't be surprised, yet in this day and age, many have turned a blind eye. Turned a blind eye to what's going on. They don't want to know. They'd rather walk around with their blinders on so they don't see what's taking place because it's easier. And when you ask a person why they do that, what is usually their answer? Because they can't do anything about what's going on. Therefore, they'd rather not know. And to be in a world where people have given up their ability to do something because they believe they can't do anything, well, that's kind of sad. Because our books of prophecy, our books that we have from the teachers before us, tell us that we are not powerless by any means. We are powerful. The only reason we are powerless is because somebody has gotten into our minds and convinced us otherwise. Once we push that information aside that they're trying to send to us, once we understand our connection to divinity, then there's no one who's going to slow us down, no one who's going to misinform us, because we are going to be tied in with a direct source of information, and we'll know when we're being lied to. That's the beauty of the whole system. If we just simply use the gifts that we've been given, we will not be lied to. We will not have any of these problems because we will know and understand. It's only because all of these abilities have been dumbed down that we are confused and lost. All right, here's the story. This is over at In 5D. It says 5 alien species are already walking amongst us. Well, there's often believed that most aliens are unfriendly bunch. There are a few species who have been on here on Earth for centuries who serve to disprove this claim. Some of the more friendly alien species are listed below. The Lyrans. It's widely held belief that the Lyrans are our oldest ancestors. In fact, there are those that believe that the Lyrans were actually the first humans to form a civilization in the Milky Way galaxy. The world-famous Billy Meyer was one of the first people to talk about the Lyrans. He claims that they revealed to him their origins and story. He was extremely gracious to share his story with mankind. Mr. Meyer reports that they have described their ancient ancestor and consequently ours as originating in a far sun system in a star group with what is now known as the Ring Nebula of Lyra, for which we have called them Lyrans in the same way we refer to human beings from what we call the Pleiades. And we have the Arcturians. After many eons of existence, one of the oldest alien species in our galaxies, the Arcturians have reached such an ascended state that many classify them as a fifth-dimensional civilization. Their home planet orbits the largest star in the Bootes constellation and is located approximately 200 light-years away from Earth. While seemingly impossible for us to reach, it's proven to be of little consequence to the Arcturians because while millions of years ago, the Arcturians believed the level of technology we have reached on Earth, they now possess some of the most advanced technology in the Milky Way galaxy. And we have the Telosians. It says described as being tall, blonde humanoids, the Telosians are believed by many to be the last survivors of a long-lost human civilization on Earth. There are many that say that they are survivors of the cataclysms that sunk Atlantis and Lemuria, while another school of thought believes they are much older than that. Their name derives from the Greek word telos, which means end or purpose. It seems fitting for their largest city of Telos, which many believe is located under Mount Shasta, California. We have the Alpha Centaurians. Other extraterrestrials from Alpha Centauri easily have the power not only to destroy us, but any other aggressive alien species. They are considered the most technologically advanced alien species in the Milky Way galaxy. They got in this position because they were reported to be highly intelligent and possess a natural curiosity, which in turn led them to the rapid advancement in science and technology. It also appears that the Alpha Centaurians have learned that with immune power comes immense responsibility. And finally, the Pleiadians. Believed to be descendants of the early Lyrans, the Pleiadians in some circles have come to represent one of humanity's most active allies. Their home is located in the Pleiades star cluster, which is a group of stars located approximately 400 light-years from Earth. name is derived from the ancient Greek word pleion, meaning to sail. The Pleiadians have always played an important part in human culture. One of their chosen representatives, Billy Meyer, imparted his messages of Samage, a Pleiadian female who was deeply concerned for our fate. She told Billy, "We are neither guardians of earth nor beings of God sent angels or similar. Many persons suggest we are watching over earth and her beings would control their fates. This is not true because we only perform a self-selected mission, which has nothing to do with supervising or regulating Earth's fate. Thus, it is wrong for us to expose us as super-terrestrial messengers or guardians." Despite the message that Samage, the Pleiadians were the first to warn Earth about the danger of the gray aliens. The Pleiadians accused the Greys of having a lack of wisdom and empathy when using technologically inferior humans to serve their evil, remorseless purposes. For this reason, two alien species have fought one another, not only here but other. Okay, so these are some of the extraterrestrial races that are down here. Barbara Marciniak and Barbara Hand-Clow are two authors that have written a lot about the Pleiadians. Barbara Marciniak has a series of books that is really good. Earth, The Living Library is one of them. Family is another one. I would recommend any of her books. Now, just a side note, some of you have asked questions like, am I an alien? Where am I from? I think I've told you in the past, my story is like that of many individuals down here. I am in the human form right now, like many of you, but I don't come from here. I know myself to come from the Pleiadian star system. I have memories of the time of Atlantis, and I know myself to have been down here on Earth a long time going through this incarnational process. There are many who share that same story because there are many that are here on this same mission. And I say mission because that's kind of what it is. There's the whole joke about the volunteering and volunteers that came down here because we heard the call, and here we are. But that's my story. I didn't come down in a spaceship in this time like many didn't. I came through the incarnational process just like everybody else did. But in the distant past, like many others, I have the memories of other civilizations, and I have the memories and awareness that I'm not from here, and connection to the Pleiades. Everyone has a different connection to some star system out there. If you talk to people, that you meet in the world that are interested in the subject and have looked into it, they'll tell you, and they associate with many of the different star systems that are out there. That's why we're here, because we've gathered together on this earth in order to help things move along. So we're all here for a purpose, okay? We are all here from a purpose, and we're all here from somewhere else. All from somewhere else. All right, here's our message for today. Comes from Jesus. Let's check it out.
Jesus, fear, anger, jealousy, resentment, hatred, blame, condemnation, and judgment are absolutely unreal.
September 20th, 2015, by John Smallman.
Hello, this is John with Jesus' message for Sunday, September 20th, 2015. Today he is again talking about the inevitability of humanity's awakening into reality. And, as with my last Saul message, I am posting my complete communication with Jesus so that you can see where I'm coming from with my doubts, and my intention to release them, as the moment for our awakening approaches. Good evening, dear Jesus. Thank you very much for your last message. What do you have for me this evening? Today I have been tired, mostly at peace, content, but uninspired. It feels as though I received my last message from Saul a long time ago, and yet it was only last Thursday afternoon, 2 brief days ago. Time is surely quite unreal. It appears that we addressed issues that many are concerned with, judging by the many comments I have received. So that was very good. But, right now I feel blah, bored, peaceful, but without direction or motivation, so an inspiring and uplifting message from you would be good, but you and Saul have given me so many that I sometimes see these communications of ours from the point of view that they are merely more of the same, nothing new, And do they really have any validity? In other words, I do have doubts. They do not last, and I know that they are a distraction, my ego attempting to convince me of the reality of the illusion, something I know is unreal. However, it would be nice to be able to dissolve them once and for all. As you must know, I most firmly believe in life after death and in an infinitely loving God, presence, source, but, like most humans, I have no idea what that really means. Reading accounts of people's near-death experiences is uplifting and encouraging, but life here on Earth leaves much to be desired, especially for those in war zones, those fleeing war zones, and those suffering with floods, forest fires, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and various forms of ill health. So I feel I should not complain at all, but, as I experienced listening to Anita Moorhan's interview with Brian Rose on YouTube, I do feel that something of ultimate importance is missing from my life, something I remember I had but can no longer remember, other than knowing that something important is missing. And of course all the inspiring messages from you and from Saul are about the fact that there is only love, and the only concept of that most of us can imagine is falling in love with another so that life can be lived in a loving, uplifting, and very satisfying relationship. However, very few of those seem to work long term, even though we are only here momentarily. So I guess we are all really looking for what we lost when we chose to separate from God. And, having forgotten what it is that we lost, we have no real idea where to look, and where we do look does not reveal any satisfying answers. So, dear Jesus, please respond with a message that uplifts and inspires me and our followers. We are in need of reassurance that reinforces and strengthens our wavering faith, so that we continue making our way very positively along the path to our inevitable awakening.
Good evening, John. The task we here in the spiritual realms have taken upon ourselves, and that you who have chosen to experience human lives at this point in humanity's awakening process have also taken on, is to uplift and inspire humanity into awakening. We pass messages to you, they inspire you and strengthen your faith in God, and you then share them freely and indiscriminately so that all of humanity can become aware of, and then choose to be part of this longed-for process leading you to your inevitable awakening. As we have said, humanity has made the collective decision to awaken, but the distractions and enticements, with which the illusion seemingly presents you almost constantly keeps drawing you back into it. This has been an ongoing struggle for you since the moment, just a moment ago, that you made the choice to build and enter into the illusion. The illusion is a very clever construct. Many of you have seen conjurers and magicians performing extraordinarily convincing magical tricks, so you understand the concept. But the illusion that the one Son of God built to attempt to separate himself from his Father is way more convincing than anything that a human illusionist could possibly produce. The saving grace is, of course, that time, like the illusion, is unreal, utterly unreal. Yes, to all of you apparently immersed in it, it seems totally real, but I assure you that it is not. Those of you who have had near-death experiences, many more of you than you might think, know this, and have shared that knowledge with all who wish to be informed. Throughout the eons, mystics and enlightened ones have also been telling you this, but as I said, the distractions and enticements of the illusion, like the tricks of conjurers and magicians, draw you in, because they seem so real and entrancing to you. Illusionists' tricks and sleight of hand are always finally revealed for what they are, unreal illusions, and the grand illusion in which you seem to be living, often very unhappily and unsatisfactorily, will also be shown to be unreal. You are one with God. That is your state since the glorious moment of your creation, and it is an unchangeable state because God is changeless, and so, therefore, are you. You were created absolutely perfect because naturally, all that God creates is eternally perfect. That does not mean you are in a state of stagnancy, motionless. Creation, God, is eternally creative, and the potential for further creation is limitless. Unchanging does not mean a stationary or uncreative state, it means a state that is constantly and eternally extending love, infinitely. This means that you, every sentient being, is forever expanding in love and creativity, your potential to create like God is limitless. This is your natural state, creating and expanding the field of love that is God and in which He created you. What He creates He shares and extends without limit or restriction. Love is limitless and changeless, there is nowhere within it that anything unloving can be present, because there is nothing else, and there is no potential for anything that is unreal or unloving because love fills the whole of creation, being the whole of creation. When you awaken into reality, your eternal home, as you will when you release your fearful grasp on the illusion, your joy will be beyond, way beyond your wildest dreams. Keep renewing your intent to awaken and for humanity to awaken by daily, hourly, in fact moment-to-moment restating your intent to be only loving regardless of the situation in which you seem to be involved. Love is all. Therefore, love, when you embrace it, dissolves all that is not in perfect alignment with it. Fear, anger, jealousy, resentment, hatred, blame, condemnation, and judgment are absolutely unreal. Let them go, release your anxious grasp upon them and allow them to dissolve into the nothingness from which you imagined them into being. It is only your grip on them, your belief in them that appears to maintain them. Not one among you wants any of them, you only want love, so open your hearts, as we keep advising you to do, and allow the love that surrounds and envelopes you in every moment to embrace you, waking you up into reality, your eternal home. Your loving brother, Jesus.
Right. So that was a good message. I like that one because people have questions. People have concerns and doubts and fears. And so the questions that John brought up are ones that everyone has. And therefore, anyone who listens to that should be able to gather some insight and understanding because they have similar questions. You know, it's do you see as the more and more we look at all of this information that it really isn't so difficult to understand? When we go back to the Hermetic principles and we see that it starts off with the principle of mentalism, you see how everything expands from there? It's just one mind, and a mind can think, can imagine things. Our mind can play tricks on us, or it can show us the way to go. And therefore, having a clear mind is much different than having a clouded mind. And from there, everything changes because that mind and the clarity of it is going to determine our correspondence. And that correspondence is going to determine the way we vibrate. And the way we vibrate is going to determine the poles that we are going back and forth between and the rhythm of life that we're moving to. And all of that is going to have an effect on what it is that is going on, the karma that's going back and forth, and the way in which we're using our energies. If our minds aren't clear and these things are out of balance, then they're going to be out of balance. So if we live in a world, for example, like we're living now, where we have any of these principles misunderstood, we're going to be at a place of misunderstanding. So the principle of gender, we have a lot of misunderstanding about gender right now. And therefore, it makes it challenging. Okay? I don't know why there's this misunderstanding of gender. I've had discussions with many. I'm sure you have as well. But, you know, we're out of whack. We're out of whack with understanding, you know, all of these different aspects. So we need to get back together. We need to get our minds together, get our thoughts together so that we're thinking clearly. That way we can make better decisions, because these decisions and the way our mind works affects everything, because everything is one giant mind. Some say that we're in a giant computer simulation, which a giant computer simulation wouldn't be too different than from a giant mind, because computers are continual thinking. They're a continual process of mental activity that is going on. And sort of an idea of what we're about. It's not us, but it's an artificial version of us. All right, let's go to the Warrior of the Light message for today. Today we're at page 113. One day, for no apparent reason, the warrior realizes that he does not feel the same enthusiasm for the fight that he used to. He continues to do what he has always done, but every gesture seems meaningless. At such a time, he has only one choice: to continue fighting the good fight. He says his prayers out of duty or fear, whatever he does, but does not abandon the path. He knows that the angel of the one who inspires him has simply wandered off somewhere. The warrior keeps his attention focused on the battle, and he perseveres even when everything seems utterly pointless. The angel will soon return, and the merest flutter of his wings will restore the warrior's joy to him. Doesn't that fit in exactly with what this last message was? That at the beginning of it, John Smallman, had these questions and these doubts. We all have doubts. We all have fears that come up from time to time. It's part of what's going on because all of these energies are out there, part of the big pool of energy that we're all a part of. And so we all have to deal with them. We can't pretend they don't exist because they do. We simply have to know when we're dealing with them how we are going to deal with them. And the first thing is being aware that they do exist so that therefore we can make proper choices in how we go about it. All right, that brings us to our meditation for today. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath and exhale. Take another deep breath and exhale again. And another breath and exhale. Now feel this breath traveling through your body, through all of your cells. And as it does so, think of the idea of love. And just feel the love that exists that allows one molecule of your breath to want to connect to another molecule of your breath. And for these molecules of breath to want to connect with the molecules of your body. And so, no matter where we look, we see these connections of love. And we understand that this love is the glue that holds all things together. We understand that God is a force of love. And with each and every individual upon this planet, that love exists. And it is only the illusion that gets in the way that separates us from that, because it tells us that it's not real. But as we look in the mirror of life, we see, despite what we are told, that love exists within us. And so we imagine this love growing bigger and more expansive within our being. So let's imagine starting right from the heart, right in the center, right by that heart chakra, the color green. And let's just imagine it expanding. First from a little ball of light in the center of your chest. Imagine expanding outward in all directions, growing larger. And just imagine this color green filling your body. And as it fills your body, feel the warmth of this love. Feel the peacefulness of this love. And then let this love expand outward from your body, overflowing like a shield of protection around you. And imagine this love expanding outward into the room where you are at this moment, and out further into the city where you live, expanding outward into the state, to the country, across the sea, and to the other countries here on the earth. And let's imagine this love going to each and every individual and waking up the love within them that lies dormant. And let's imagine for a moment all the people on earth feeling this love and sharing this love with others. Imagine what feeling that would be. And know that this is possible because this is what we are designed to express. Imagine as this love goes through the world, it changes the doubts into faith. It changes the negative to the positive. It turns cold hearts to warm. And we find that all the solutions to our problems exist simply in this love. This four-letter word that expresses all that we need to understand. So continue to walk upon that journey of love today. So no matter what challenges or issues may come up, love simply can go to heal that situation and bring clarity to it. So the subconscious mind continues on, and we see ourselves spreading love into the world. Express that today as you say hello to people you meet. Maybe with a smile or a wave. Just something where we connect and we correspond with another individual. Love will know. Even if we don't know who these individuals are, love knows. So, we continue on that journey, and we're going to bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it for today, my friends. The season of change is upon us. Literally, we have moved from one season to the next, from summer until fall. Seasons change, and we know that with a change of season comes a change in what we see around us, whether it be the leaves changing color, or the grass, or the weather moving in different patterns. Therefore, the change on other levels of the fire, the water, and the air is upon us as well. And it is up to us to see this change, to connect the dots so we understand what is going on. It's really not that complicated. It's a mental universe. We just have to keep our thoughts clear by keeping the distractions away from us, by keeping the doubts and the fears at bay. And the best way to do that is just keep sending love to yourself and to everyone else you meet. Can't go wrong with that. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow. Just pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to the season of change we're in, and let's just see where it all unfolds. If nothing else, get your popcorn ready, because maybe we'll have a very interesting show to watch. Maybe nothing's going to happen, and everything will be a subtle change that takes place. But I do know that we are changing, and the changes are definitely internal, as much as they are external and physical. That's it. I'll be here tomorrow. Till then, have an awesome day. I love you. Keep loving each other. Peace. I'm out of here.